Welcome to another stage analysis video. It's Wednesday the 12th of April 2023. I'm going to start off the midweek video with a look through what's been going on with gold and silver and the mining ETFs of the GDX and the SIL before having a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, major US indexes, get into some of the short-term market breadth, and then go into a little bit more detail about this week's watchlist stocks from yesterday's post. Obviously, don't get any context when I do the blog post, so the video is always helpful to just go into a bit more detail about why they're on the list and what we're looking for really in terms of the characteristics, whether they're breakouts, pullbacks, consolidations, etc. So go into that in a little bit more detail further in the video. So midweek video, a little bit shorter than the weekend video. So right, let's get started. GLD, good proxy for obviously what's going on with physical gold. You can obviously use the gold futures are the best guide really. The GC one exclamation mark on TradingView. Don't have that on stock charts, but this one I marked up a long time ago. It's been a good guide as we go through. See, we had the stage 2 breakout back at the early in the year. And then we moved out from the rebound zone, what we call the secondary entry zone in the stage analysis method about 5 to 6 weeks ago now. It was on the weekend in the 10th of March, I think that was, where it started to move out from the secondary entry zone, then opened on the 13th of March with a good gap up move there. Started to push through for the last 5 weeks to new near-term highs, and now starting to approach the older highs. Still not there yet, still a few percent away, but it's obviously a good steady stage 2 uptrend and obviously doing what it's supposed to do. Volume has been tailing off a bit as it's been rising here, so wouldn't be surprised to get a pullback in the near future soon. It's been consolidating and grinding its way up, but relative strength versus the S&P 500 here starting to. It's been outperforming for a while now, since all the way back in 2022. It's been outperforming the S&P 500 and getting closer towards the upper range of that again. If we look at the GDX by comparison, this is the gold miners ETF, Van Eck Vectors ETF. So this covers some of the larger miners. Use the GDXJ for some of the juniors as well. I think this is mostly US miners. There's obviously a lot of gold miners are situated in the Canadian market. So I'm not sure how many this actually covers from the Canadian market as well, whether it doesn't or not. So need to do a bit more detailed look into that. But basically, this has been a good proxy for the group as a whole. We can use the other indexes, the HUI, the Gold Bugs Index, and there's a bunch of physical ETFs as well that you can use. So basically, this one doing exactly the same as we're seeing in gold here. We had a rebound from the stage 2 area, so it's usually stage 2 breakout area. We had the rebound move same week as we saw with obviously gold itself starting to move back up and out again from the secondary entry zone. Has made it through to new highs over the last few weeks, starting to tail off a little bit here, and it's nowhere near its highs at the moment, so underperforming relative to gold, still 16% below this April 2022 high, and the around 25% below, was that all the way back in August 20. Whereas if we compare to actually gold itself here, you can see we're only 3% off, 3 to 4% off of the highs here for both of those. So gold, physical gold, outperforming the individual stocks there. But we have seen a little bit of relative strength in the near term here. You can see making a higher high with the price action above a flattening zero line here. So starting to outperform versus the stock market, versus the S&P 500 here. As we look at silver, it's had a strong move over the last 5 weeks here. You can see again from that secondary entry zone, but it was much deeper. It did have a failed initial stage 2 move, so this was your stage 2 breakout. Obviously rolled over, came back in again, undercut that 30-week moving average, would have stopped out in this area around here, and then retook it again. So you've got secondary entry point back through here again. It's had a good run since the secondary entry zone there, so it's moved up about 14% or so far, making higher highs in the near term. Again, unlike gold, it's a little bit off of its obviously near-term highs there. You got 6% and then another 20% until the all-time highs there. So Gold relatively outperforming, but you can see in the near term versus the S&P 500 starting to come back again. So not doing quite as well as the price action here. A little bit of underperformance versus where it was back at the start of the year there. So not quite as strong as gold, but it has shown some real strength over the last 5 weeks here. And again, still in early stage 2. If you look at the silver miners, underperforming silver again. So the physical metal is definitely outperforming the individual stocks here. See, again, a good 5-week move off of that, out of that secondary entry area there. But obviously it was from a much lower point. This was your stage 2 breakout, and this happened later in similar time, but actually from a different point here compared to what we saw with the actual silver itself, and took a few more weeks to recover that level. So it's only been rallying back above that level for 3 weeks now, and not yet convincingly above the highs from January here. So underperforming the silver miners compared to actual physical silver. And same with what's going on with physical gold versus the gold miners. We'll move on now to Bitcoin. This has obviously been starting to catch people's attention this week, particularly as it's now starting to hit the 30,000 level. So starting to make people notice. It got to 35.50 this week as a high, but obviously this is an old resistance zone through here. It's been the major lows back in 2021 there. Obviously, you're a little bit higher up. You've also got the other period of lows back at the start of 2022 there, and then this consolidation zone from March, April time, 2022. So it's definitely a confluence area, and also this area of lows as well. So it's a major zone of support resistance, similar to what we're seeing with the major stock market indexes, where they're in a zone of major resistance that's been support resistance multiple times. So popping out of this 3 weeks tight pattern here, whether it was technically a 3 weeks tight or not, but a tight 3 week range, basically starting to move up and out, but obviously stalling at that 30,000 level at the moment. The SATA score at the moment has popped up to a 9. So the strongest score it's had. It had a 9 back in the 13th of March on this bar as well. And also got a SATA score of 9 when all the technical attributes were almost strong. It's just the final line here, resistance. It's not yet out of its resistance zone, which, as we can see, as we just talked about, it's still within this resistance zone here. If it starts to clear that, then potential could get up to a max score. But at the moment, still got resistance to get through. It's been rallying with volume lightening off there. So Ethereum, on the other hand, also doing exactly the same kind of thing. SATA score of an 8 at the moment. It was a 9 last week as it started to move up and out. So been in stage 2 for, we got now 5 weeks or so here, potentially, depending on whether you use that or the week before that. If we go back to the daily here, actually say that was your clearest stage 2 move there. So that was back, what's our day on that? Friday the 17th of March. So if we get back to the weekly chart on this, where are we? That was that week there. So this was your stage 2 breakout week, as I said on the first time. So I've been in stage 2 for about 5 weeks now. Had a good little move in the near term here. So we zoom in a little bit on this. You can see a little bit better. Not a huge move so far, but 10-15% or so. But starting to grind its way up into stage 2 here. You can see the SATA score changing over time. So obviously strongest through the major stage 2 advanced, and weakest through this stage 4 decline area, starting to tail off a bit in the stage 1 zone, and now obviously in a green zone for a while with scores of 9, 8, 9, and 10, 7, 8, and 9. For the most part of the last 5 weeks here. So the strongest it's been for a while here as it moves into early stage 2.